Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something today. Well, a lot of folks find it pretty intimidating, Enochian magic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but don't worry, we've got a guide, right? We're using Christopher Hyatt's The Enochian World of Aleister Crowley.
Great book.
It is, and it's going to be our decoder ring to make sense of this whole system.
I like that, a decoder ring.
Yeah, so what we're going to try to do is, figure out the core structure of Enochian magic, how it stacks up against other magic systems out there, and we're going to even peek into Enochian sex magic.
Ooh, spicy.
It is. It's funny, Hyatt himself, even he initially thought Enochian magic was kind of like, irrelevant, too complex, for us modern folks.
Yeah, I can see that. It can seem pretty daunting.
It is. Like walking into a library and seeing that one giant book, right, on the topic you're interested in. You're like, oh, wow, this looks amazing. And then, wait, do I really want to?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, too much, too much.
But Hyatt actually changed his mind, right? He came around to the idea that everything you need is actually in the text itself.
Oh, interesting.
Simpler than it seems, on the surface at least.
So we're going to find the elegance within the complexity.
Exactly.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, but before we jump in, I got to know, right? Like, where did this whole system come from? The origins, the history of Enochian magic?
Okay, so picture this. Elizabethan England.
Okay.
We've got a guy named Dr. John Dee.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Queen Elizabeth I's advisor, super bright guy, and Edward Kelly, known for his, scrying, gazing into crystals and mirrors, getting visions and stuff.
Sounds like a magical power couple.
Yeah, totally. And these two claim to receive, get this, angelic dictations. And these messages became the raw material, the basis for all of Enochian magic.
Wow, so straight from the source.
That's what they claimed, yeah.
So this is going back to the 1500s, right? So what happened? It just sat on a shelf somewhere for hundreds of years.
Well, yeah, for a while. It wasn't until the late 1800s that Ethel McGregor Mathers, one of the founders of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, he rediscovered Dee and Kelly's work.
Aha, so this is the guy that kind of took these raw angelic messages and turned it into a system?
Yeah, he used his knowledge of Kabbalah and magic to make sense of it all, structure it, and then along came, the infamous Aleister Crowley, who took it even further.
Oh, yeah, he's got to be in there somewhere, right?
Oh, absolutely. He really explored the 30 ethers, documented his experiences.
Fascinating lineage.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk structure. What makes Enochian magic unique?
All right, so think of it as like a cosmic map, right? And it has two main sections, the elemental watchtowers and the 30 aethers.
Okay, I'm with you.
Now, the watchtowers, those are like your compass points, right? Air, water, earth, and fire.
Okay, got it.
Represented by 4 elemental tablets. Plus, we've got this tablet of union, which symbolizes spirit.
So classic 4 elements, but with this added spirit element.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, the foundation of creation, right?
Right.
Now, surrounding these watchtowers are the 30 aethers, and they're visualized as these concentric circles, picture a target.
Okay.
And Crowley described these as representing this, fourth dimensional universe.
Okay, so are the watchtowers like the base camp and the aethers are the territories you explore?
That is a great way to put it.
Okay, cool. But each one of those levels, or those territories, sounds incredibly complex.
They can be.
Where do you even begin to decode it all?
So it all starts with those elemental tablets. They're like your blueprints. And once you get one, you unlock them all.
Okay.
Each tablet is divided up into subangles, right? And again, those represent the elements.
Okay.
And within those, you've got all these different components, each with a specific role.
Okay, so can we get a concrete example here, something I can really wrap my head around?
Sure, sure. So imagine you're working on a writing project, and you need some inspiration.
Okay, happens all the time.
So you might want to choose to work with the water tablet, because that deals with emotions and that creative flow.
Okay.
And within that, you would focus on the part associated with Mercury, right?
Okay.
Because Mercury rules communication and intellect.
So you're tapping into a very specific energy signature based on the symbolism of the tablet. So it's like having a specialized tool for each task.
You got it. That's exactly it.
Cool.
And to help visualize this, Hyatt suggests actually coloring the tablets.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so red for fire, blue for water, so on and so forth.
Yeah, making something abstract, tangible.
Exactly. It helps solidify the structure in your mind.
Love that. Okay, so we're starting to see the beauty of this Enochian system, combining this really complex symbolism with these, very practical applications.
Right.
And I imagine as we go on and explore those 30 aethers and this whole Enochian language thing, we'll see how these really abstract concepts can lead to some pretty powerful personal transformation.
Absolutely, yeah.
I am intrigued. We're going to have to unlock those next levels in part 2.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Okay, so we've explored the structure, right? The watchtowers, the ethers, all very cool stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is, but to actually navigate this system, you need like a special key, right? And that's where the Enochian language comes in.
Exactly, and it's not like, just some made-up gibberish.
Right.
Scholars believe it has, its own grammar, syntax, a real structure.
So like a language from another dimension, literally.
That's the idea. And here's where it gets even more fascinating.
Okay, I'm listening.
Reciting the Enochian calls, like the actual sounds, is believed to be, like, crucial for making the magic work,
So it's not just about understanding the words, it's like the vibrations themselves.
Exactly, yeah. And the nature of these calls is really unique.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about traditional, like, magical evocations, right?
Okay.
Often they're lengthy, demanding, almost like you're begging this stubborn entity.
Yeah, sounds exhausting.
Right. Enochian calls, on the other hand, are more like pronouncements,
Okay.
dignified. It's almost like you're inviting an angel for, like, a sophisticated conversation.
Okay, so I'm picturing less Simon Says and more like a formal invitation to tea.
A perfect analogy.
Cool.
Of course, learning this language, it takes practice, right?
I bet.
Hyatt's book has this phonetic guide,
Okay.
and it helps to, like, listen to audio recordings, to get the feel for it.
So it's like learning a magical song, you got to
Yeah.
hear it. And once you've got the language down, you need like the instructions, right? The how-to manual.
Right.
That's where those 48 calls or keys come in.
Yes, they're like activating specific power switches within the system.
Okay.
Crowley details which calls to use for each part. Like, for example, the first key activates the tablet of union, like as a whole.
So it's like a control panel, and each button triggers a different function, but you wouldn't just press them randomly?
Exactly. No.
There's an order.
Crowley provides a clear sequence for each invocation.
Got it.
So, like, for example, there are specific calls for each elemental tablet: air, water, earth, fire.
And these calls are what you actually use to like manifest change in the world, if I'm understanding this correctly?
Precisely.
Okay, cool. Now, what about the ethers?
Right. So the ethers, those 30 levels we talked about, each one has its own unique call.
Okay.
Going from the 7th all the way to the 48th.
Oh, wow. So with these 48 keys, you can essentially like open a door to any part of this Enochian universe.
In theory, yes. But Crowley also offers something called temple openings.
Okay.
To simplify things?
Yeah, because this sounds very complex.
It can be.
Yeah.
These are like mini rituals that you do to create like the right mental and energetic space before you start working with the calls.
So like setting the mood, making sure the vibes are right.
Exactly. Then you vibrate the calls with focused intention, directing your will towards your goal.
Okay, starting to get the flow here.
Good.
But what about the results? How do you even know if it's working?
That's where things get a little tricky.
Yeah, I bet.
The experiences during Enochian workings are often very visionary, intuitive, like dreams,
Okay.
It's not always about like tangible results, but more about like shifts in consciousness, expanded awareness.
It's like you're rewiring your perception of reality.
Exactly.
Jumping into something beyond the 5 senses.
And now, for the final and most controversial part of our journey, Enochian Sex Magick.
Ooh, okay, here's where I'm all ears.
Okay.
But before we, get too deep, is there even any evidence that, like, Duty and Kelly themselves actually used this system for sexual purposes?
Not directly, no.
Okay.
This seems to be an interpretation or an adaptation by, like, later practitioners.
So it's kind of like an evolution of the original system.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
But with any kind of sex magic, obviously, you got to approach it responsibly.
Absolutely. Safety first.
Right. And Hyatt really stresses mastering the non-sexual applications first.
Okay, good advice.
But for those who are ready, the potential for transformation is immense.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear more. What are the core principles here?
So it's about uniting with the divine through ritual, visualization, and, of course, sexual energy.
Okay.
A very profound intimacy with the source of creation itself.
So it's not just about, like, physical pleasure. There's, like, this deeper spiritual purpose.
Exactly, yeah. And just as we have the two main branches in the Enochian system, right, the tablets and the aethers, there are two main approaches to Enochian sex magic as well.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What are these two approaches?
So the first one involves exploring those 30 aethers sexually.
Oh, wow.
Hyatt describes this two-person ritual with a magician and an assistant.
Okay.
And the magician enters a trance, journeys through the aethers, while the assistant guides and records the experience.
Wow, that sounds intense. But obviously, consent and respect are paramount here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the second approach focuses on elemental operations and creating what's called a magical child.
A magical child.
Yeah, and this isn't about like a literal child.
Okay, good.
It's more like an embodiment of chosen qualities, a manifestation of your will.
So like a project, a skill, even like a new aspect of yourself.
Precisely. And this draws on the symbolism of the elemental tablets, combining and separating these different forces.
Okay.
Hyatt gives the example of creating a child of purity and beauty by working with a specific curb from the water tablet.
So you're using the energy signature of that curb to kind of like shape the qualities of this magical child.
Exactly. The ritual involves, visualization, vibrating specific angelic names, circulating energy through your body, and then culminating in an orgasm that projects that energy into the magical child.
Wow. This is intense. We've gone from like angelic alphabets to like energy orgasms.
It's been quite a journey,
It has.
but we're not quite done yet.
Ah.
There's one more fascinating piece of this puzzle that we need to explore.
Okay, lay it on me.
The concept of the orgastic circulation of light.
Orgastic circulation of light.
Yes.
Okay, I am intrigued.
It's a very powerful technique that combines sexual energy with visualization and angelic names to create these like really profound shifts in energy and consciousness.
All right, I am definitely ready to dive into this orgastic circulation of light.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm ready for this orgastic circulation of light thing.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, it sounds like we're blending Eastern and Western traditions here, right?
You got it.
Using like sexual energy as the fuel.
Yeah, the orgastic circulation of light draws on both Western esotericism and Eastern tantric practices,
Okay.
using breath work, visualization, angelic names to direct that energy through your chakras.
So it's like a powerful energy practice, but with a distinctly Enochian twist.
Exactly.
Okay, walk me through it.
Okay, so imagine a couple in a ritual setting, right? They've done their prep work, invoked the right energies.
They're ready.
They're ready to begin.
Okay,
The first stage focuses on building that energy connection.
got it.
So they visualize a sphere of white light, pure spiritual energy
Okay.
at the crown of their head, the Kether chakra.
So it's like drawing down energy from a higher source, like a lightning rod.
Exactly. And as they inhale, they visualize that light moving down their body all the way to the base of the spine, the Melkuth chakra.
Oh, wow.
And on the exhale, it flows back up,
Okay.
creating this continuous loop.
Such an energetic circuit,
Yeah. And as they're doing this, they start vibrating specific angelic names,
Okay.
which amplifies the energy and aligns it with their intentions.
So they're like chanting these names as they're visualizing this energy flowing.
Precisely.
Wow, okay.
And each stage of the circulation focuses on a different chakra and a different set of angelic names.
Okay.
So, for example, when the energy reaches the heart, right,
Mm-hmm.
they might vibrate the names of the 6 seniors from the water tablet, right,
Okay.
to amplify qualities like love and compassion.
It's like a multi-layered process. The breath, the visualization, the sound, all working together.
Yeah. And as the energy builds, their bodies become, increasingly sensitive.
Okay.
And the sexual energy starts to blend with that spiritual energy.
It's like this powerful synergy.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting for me.
I bet.
Like, how does the sexual act itself play into all of this?
So the sexual union ideally happens when the energy is at its peak,
Okay.
circulating freely between the partners.
Okay.
It becomes like an expression of that energy flow, this sacred dance that amplifies and directs it towards their goal.
So it's not just like a physical release. It's a ritual act.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And Hyatt describes this final stage where the combined energy, right,
Mm-hmm.
intensified by the orgasm,
Okay.
is projected outwards beyond the crown chakra towards what he calls the chakra with no name.
Chakra with no name.
Yeah, it's this point of pure potential, a connection to the divine source.
Wow, it's like merging your individual consciousness with something much greater.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And the effects of this practice, according to those who practice it, can be pretty profound.
Yeah, I bet.
Enhanced creativity, deeper spiritual awareness, stronger bonds between partners, even, healing and transformation.
This is incredible. We've gone from like the structure of this system, the language, to actually like working with the energy and
Yeah.
seeing how it can be applied.
We've barely scratched the surface, but hopefully this is giving you a taste
Absolutely.
of Enochian magic's complexity and its potential.
My mind is buzzing with all these new
That's
concepts.
good.
It's been an incredible deep dive, I gotta say.
Me too.
Now for that final thought-provoking question
Yeah.
that you promised.
So we discussed the creation of a magical child, right? Not a literal child,
Right.
but a project, a skill, or even a new aspect of yourself.
Yeah.
So if you were to approach this using Enochian principles,
Mm-hmm.
what qualities would you imbue in your creation? And what energies would you call upon?
What a great question. That's something for you to ponder.
It is.
Knowledge is power, but only when it's applied.
Absolutely.
So, dear listener, take these insights, explore further, and see what magic you can create in your own life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, keep seeking and keep diving deep.